Good morning. It's a Saturday morning, about 8:30. Up here at the farm, pretty early actually. Got a pretty busy day. Got a lot I want to get done. It's about 65 degrees on its way up to probably 85 or 90. So, trying to get in here early, get some painting done in the living room before it starts getting too hot. I am flying solo today. Lisa had quite a few things she needed to get done this weekend, so it's just me up here. We were both up here yesterday, took Friday off work. Got a fair amount done. So let me show you a couple of updates since our last video. We now have our new slider installed. New white trim patio door has been installed. We're really happy with it. Our friends at the Window Source in Morgantown put this in. Did a really nice job. We've got a little bit of work to do. Obviously, we're still working on the walls in the kitchen. This is just a first coat of primer. We haven't really started in here yet. The plan in the kitchen is that we're going to get the ceiling painted, get that painted first, then we'll come back and finish up the trim here. We've got some drywall to replace here because we're going to, this is a hood fan that goes outside. We're going to close that off. Get the walls painted, and then after we get the rest of the house painted, we'll come back and be painting these cabinets. That's going to be a lot of work, so we want to get we're trying to get all the bedrooms painted, all the rooms painted, because the flooring has arrived at this point. So anyway, new patio door, and we have a new front door as well. Nice, heavily insulated, very secure deadbolt front door, and a storm door with a sliding screen. So again, everything, we're doing all the trim in white, but really pleased with that. The window company is working on a quote for all 8 of these front windows. We're looking at doing a 50-50 dual hung window so we can open those up. That would really put a lot of air into this room, a lot of cross breeze. Right now, these are the only 2 windows we have in the living room, and on a morning like this will turn into a greenhouse real quick. The other thing is the new windows would have a UV tint on there, which would keep a lot of the heat from the sun out anyway. So here's why I'm up here today. Basically, at this point, this room is 95% done with 1 coat of the final paint. Ceilings have been done, walls have been done. The trim is what I worked on yesterday. So I'm back today to do more trim. I want to get all the trim done a second time, get a good solid white coat on there. Then I'll be able to start on the ceilings. So if I can get some trim and the ceilings done today, that'll be a fantastic day, because then all I've got left are these flat walls, and that's super easy. So we are finally seeing an end to painting in the living room. This has been the longest project I have ever had to work on when it comes to painting. I've done a lot of painting, but I've never had the kind of hours that I've had to put into this room. Patching and just getting up on the ladder, that's about 16 feet up. So it takes quite a bit to get up that far. I've been painting a lot with a extended pole, those kinds of things. And then we'll have a little bit of trim around the fireplace to do. But basically, we are getting real close on this room. So once this room is done, that would mean the living room and the dining room are ready to go in terms of flooring. So then we've got the hallway and 2 bedrooms to do. We do have some bad news on one of the bedrooms. Here in the primary bedroom, the damage to this wall is exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's bad. That pile of brown right there is what's left of one of the structural pieces of wood, one of the pine boards back there. So we had a Amish gentleman come out yesterday that we're looking at hiring for this job, but basically he's recommending we take the wall out from the corner to probably just past this window. He noticed some damage on one of the subboards down there. So basically we'd take this entire part of the house out, replace all the wood, new drywall, and actually new siding on the outside. So that's opened up an interesting secondary project, because one of the things we've thought about is this is not a huge window, and as you can see, the view from out here is pretty fantastic. So we're interested in replacing this window with a sliding glass door. And that would allow us to bring the deck from the kitchen all the way over to this side, so you could come out of the master bedroom out onto the deck and also just get a lot more sunlight in here. the ability to open up a slider and just step outside. So if we do that, then we have to remove this little building, which is an entrance to the basement, which means we'd probably brick up the basement entrance, which honestly was not put in very well because it doesn't have a header. So this one little change creates a whole list of other projects that we have to do. So looking out here, there's an entrance to the basement in there, and I believe they built this on to keep snow away from the door. If you got a lot of snow on that door, first off, you wouldn't be able to use the door, but when it melts, it's probably just going to run underneath the door into the basement. So I think they built this as kind of a snow block. But as you can see, if we tried to put a patio door in there, the building's in the way. So it depends on costs. We're getting quotes for all this, but if from the gutter to the chimney, basically, if we're replacing most of that, I think it's actually to there, we'll get new siding. But if we replace that window, the window's going to have to get replaced one way or another anyway, because the window leaks like a sieve. But if we put a door there, that means we need to get the building removed. If we're going to get the building removed, then we're going to brick up the door to the basement because it wasn't installed correctly. There's no header there. So that's probably a smart move anyway. And then if we're going to do that, we might as well do some foundation work here, pulling the dirt away. The basement's about 4 feet underground, and putting a new French drain under there, since the building will be out of the way. So one little change leads to a lot of other projects, and it just depends on the dollars. They're working on a quote for all that. So other than that, beautiful morning out here on the farm. Later today, I'm going to take you down to the area where the pasture meets the woods. We have discovered what I thought was multifloral rose, an invasive species, are actually blackberries. And we have picked pints and pints and pints of blackberries in the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to take you down there and show you some of that. I can literally see the red berries from up here. It's crazy. And just an update on the autumn olives over there. By the time the guy called me, I think it was first week of April, and he was ready to go. The pasture had already, things were growing. It was coming back to life. The autumn olives had bloomed out with leaves. So it was just too late. This work needs to be done. Chopping those down, chewing those up needs to be done in the fall or over the winter, when the leaves have fallen and it's just basically all the energy's gone back down into the ground. So probably we'll talk to him in September or October. Part of our USDA plan is that we're going to clear out the autumn olives over there, and we're going to plant an orchard of fruit trees, things like that over there. A combination of trees that are good for the local habitat, might have some fruit that the deer and other animals and bees and all that kind of stuff would eat, and then just some shrubs and flowers as well. So, a lot going on today. I'll update you along the way, but not much new. Just like if you watched my videos in the fall and the winter, all I was doing was working on autumn olives. All I'm doing these days is painting. All right, so let's go in the house here. Let me show you what's done. I have finished painting the living room. 2 coats everywhere. 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of white, all around the window trim. I have a little bit more to do up there, but it's really hard to get to. But basically it's done. Baseboards, window trim, walls, ceiling, everything has been done. And I realize it probably won't come through on the camera very well, but this has been many, many, many hours of work, and it's done. So this room, again, just a teeny tiny little bit of touch up. There's like one corner in a window that I need to do, and it's finished. And I'm just tired. That's the only reason I'm not going to do it now. The other thing I got done, I put a coat of gray paint on the inside of these little archways here. It'll probably take a second coat, but that makes this whole outer area gray, and then you transition into the white. So small thing, but that basically finishes off the living room, the entryway, the dining room, So the new addition to the house is all set for flooring. We could have that come in. The flooring is in, but we could have it installed relatively quickly. Yesterday, we did get all the walls sanded down. So this room's pretty much ready. I just put some compound up in the corner. A little more over here. I'm fixing an old AT&T phone jack hole there. I don't think we'll ever be using those again. So this room, all the walls have been sanded. All the compound's been sanded down except the second coat that I'm putting on there. So we're ready to start painting in here. The next thing I'll do is take the ceiling fan down, start with the ceiling, coat of primer, probably 2 coats, and then the paint. And then same thing in here. We will not worry about that part of the wall, but we'll get everything else, the closet, all this wall. Lisa has started in on the wallpaper in the bathroom. So she started taking it down there and over on this wall. We'll be replacing the lights. We'll be replacing the mirror. But first we got to get the wallpaper down. So it's been a big weekend. So I think we ought to celebrate, go down into the field, get some blackberries. So we're in the lower pasture. This is what I thought was multifloral rose, and I know there's some in there as well, but basically it's blackberries. Let's see if I can. Millions of blackberries. So many. We've picked easily 10 pints worth in the last 2 weekends, and they're just perfect. You can literally pick them and eat them. Wish I could reach those right there. So one of the plans I've got for the fall is I'm going to cut a couple of paths in here. Like you can see where the large bushes are. And there's more up there. There's more around the corner. So that way we've got a little easier access. Last summer I had cut this path. This seems to be a deer path into the woods. And I'd cleared this. But everything grows over so quickly and so thickly. So I'll probably cut this again and then cut in behind there so we can get into all these bushes. There's so many. All right, well, I'm gonna stand out here, pick a couple of handfuls of blackberries. Big weekend at the house. Thanks for watching.